we know we can edit this. We don't know how to edit.
We know if we mess it up, it's fine. We can go back and edit it. We don't know how to do
We
it.
have no idea how to edit it.
We don't know how to do it.
We're praying that God will bring us someone that's
But we know it can be done. Before
here's what I know 100%. If we walk into a room full of editors and we raised our hand, could somebody here help us edit this video? I believe that someone's gonna stand up and help us.
Oh, for sure.
That's my belief.
And the faith that we have that it's gonna be edited.
100%.
Just edit that.
There's so much faith.
It's like when,
Vested in a smaller.
what is it? It's like when Michael Scott's talking and he's like, I forget what he says, but he's like, write this down or something. You're like, yeah, we will do.
Yeah, we'll do
but they never do it.
No.
Edit that out.
That's what I do with my mind. So I take a journal. I don't take a journal. I take notes in a journal. But I've realized after my last relationship that it's better to not write things down on paper in a journal in case someone finds it. So my new journal is right here between the ears. This is where I write my notes. And then I screenshot them and send it to myself. You know what I mean? For a good time on a Wednesday.
Maybe too soon to tell that story.
That's a little soon.
We may have to let that.
It's a little soon.
Oh, that's the whole thing, though, buddy. The whole thing about it. You finally did it.
Yeah.
And then you let it all out. You let it all out.
I finally wrote notes. I said everything.
You went into explicit detail.
Yes, that's how I truly felt.
Oh, I can't wait for you to tell that story. Down
Oh
the road.
my God. And that, cause problems. They definitely cause problems. But in the moment. But like in long term, I think it's better because I didn't want that. Like my heart, like I want to. So right now we're talking about like our stories. Like that's what we're gonna start out with this thing. I feel like God's put it on our hearts to start talking on film because we talk a lot off film, and so we start talking on film. This is a sign of the times. Things are happening. People are talking about things. I want to talk. He wants to talk, so we're gonna do it. What I've been studying lately is the story work, like to talk and to embrace my story. You know, like to name the things that happened to me, and no longer like hold anybody accountable or be mad at somebody for that. Be mad at like a mom or a grandparent or whatever because that was their thing they're dealing with. It wasn't like organically against me. My story, it's just mine. You know.
Yeah.
Your story is yours.
Yeah.
Different than everybody else's, but unique for yourself.
And we all have a story.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah. Okay, you want to start?
Yeah, there's no measurement of the story, but like they could be totally opposite. But for me, mine could be horrible, and for yours could be horrible, or vice versa. You know. Yeah. So I guess my deal would be, I started out with like a mom, no dad. They dated one time. My real father was like 16, mom was 19. He came from New York for a weekend, met my mom. She thought it was cute, got pregnant. She ended up going back to New York with him and stayed there for a while. Then she came back, she had me. They never made it. So my mom was dating different types of bikers and Harley Davidson guys and druggy guys. Because in my opinion, she didn't know her number. And that's the big thing on my heart is like embracing who I am, like what I want to be, and like how I want to be used, right? And by knowing what I want, and then pushing myself to get the things that I want is a big part of that because, my mom was okay looking, decent, semi-attractive, but she only liked really good-looking guys. And the good-looking guys that would date her were usually guys that were bums and on drugs. And so that's a big part of my story. So that happened. My mom met my stepdad when I was 7. She was she was kind of solid there for a couple years, on and off drugs, then solid. Meets my stepdad. Then it's like about the next 6-7 years, just like every 6 months they're on meth for months at a time, and no one's paying bills, no one's working, and then they get healed, or they go to church on a night, and one of them rededicates their life, and they start going to church, and my mom sings the worship team, and then things are going good, we'll be back in an apartment, back in a car again, and then bam, my stepdad would use. he'd go back to the meth, the drug. She would just follow him. She didn't care about me or my sisters. She would just, wherever my stepdad would go, she'd follow. So it didn't matter. There was no safety, there was no security. There was none of these things, which I was angry a long time for her, but I'm not angry anymore. Because now I know she was a sinner. God loves her. You know what I mean? He loves her as much as he loves me. But I had years of anger towards her. Like, how could you do that? How could you leave your kids? How could you like want to chase your man? And that's her story. You know, my story is getting through it. You know, my story is what did God do in my life for me to be used through the story to get through it, which is not on her. You know, so there was those years. I was chubby as a kid, had man boobs. I got made fun of. I moved a lot. I remember I was in 3rd grade in La Mesa, moved to Al Cajon for a couple of years, came back 5th grade, and I walk into school and kid goes, "Hey, Joey, you got fat," you know? So I dealt with that. Friends going back and forth.
As a 5th grader?
As a 5th grader. And there's nothing I could do. And then like we didn't have that much money, and the food we bought was the cheapest stuff, McDonald's or Pizza Hut or Friday round table, whatever.
This real life.
And then like my mom would always tell me, "Oh, you could definitely like you can go a couple days without eating the days there was no food in the house." You know what I mean? So then I would stack up. When there'd be food, I'd stack up.
Yeah.
You know, because there'd probably be food.
Yeah.
Then there's instead of a dumpster dive, so it was always food. So there was those journeys. My grandma, throughout those years though, my grandma was solid in church, like crazy Jesus lady. At the same time, when she drove on the freeway, this is where I first learned there's no condemnation to those in Christ Jesus. Is my grandma would be driving down the road, just I want to be more like you, Lord, just like a Jesus. Fucking get out of the way. Like out of nowhere. So like, whoa. So my grandpa had a masonry company at the time, so I'd go to work with him and be the joke at the job site.
Yeah.
So whenever he would like hurt himself or break something or fucking carpet or something, then he looked at me and goes, "I want to be more like you, Lord," just to make fun of my grandma. You know what I mean? Just to make fun of my grandma, dude. But so it was always this connection for me, like in church, and always this connection that I had, that I felt like, you know, God controlled me, and I was scared at night to be alone, but I always kind of felt like, you know, God was there, because my mom would leave me in the back of cars, and she'd chase her boyfriends or my stepdad. When I was younger, it was her boyfriends, then it was my stepdad. I was 9 years older than my sister, so there was 2 years it was just me and them, and he would leave, she would chase him, she would leave me in the back of the car, put blankets over me, like in that downtown Al Cajon, different places. At the time though, like looking back, it was scary. At the time I was scared, but like, whatever, like
you sleep in the back of the car.
yeah,
right?
like she'd go wherever he was at, she'd chase him, and she'd leave me in the car for a couple hours, and she'd go in the house and do meth or whatever. So, and it was, I remember being scared, but after a while, you just that's just normal, I guess. You know, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I didn't know how bad that was. Like Al Cajon people walking around, like this meth area, you know. So there was those years, and then I started hanging out with my buddy Jeremiah Davis. Growing up, and like I was chubby, and then at 16, my cousin Mick Dana moved in with me and started lifting weights, started working construction. I started getting better shape. I started getting a lot better shape, and then at 16, like no girls liked me to that point in my life, and then at 16, girls started liking me when I went back to school. I was in shape. I started getting better shape. Then me and Jeremiah Davis found the meth ourselves. I didn't know that's what my parents were doing, but like one of my mom's friends offered me some crystal one time. He said, "Hey, have you done coke?" And I'd done that at a party. He said, "Yeah, I've done that." Well, this is better. And I started doing it. And then for me at 16, like, wow, now I could finally get lean, you know? I was fat my whole life. And then within 3 months.
The original Hydroxycut.
The Hydroxycut, dude. Where you can take 2 of these and don't eat for a month. You know what I mean? And that's how it was. And I got shredded. And then I went back to school, and I was talked to the town. Like, every girl liked me. Everywhere I went.
How old is you? 16?
16, 17, that era. Like, girls that were 21, 20, we'd go to San Diego State parties, and like, with my buddies who were older, and the girls would want to talk to me and take me home when I was 16, 17. So it was crazy. But I learned that big thing, that the thing my mom was chasing, right, was a cute guy. She could never get into the physical arena to attract that type of guy. I like cute girls, we like cute people, and then I was able to find that in like the using. So I used a bunch of stuff, and then 19 years old, I met Jacqueline. I was probably seeing a few different girls this time, you know, just to be true. And girls once again, girls that didn't like me when I was younger, but I was older and I liked me because I was lean. And she got pregnant, and like, I just went all in. Started going to church, raised my hand. She got pregnant. My grandma said, you have to go to church with me if you're living in my house. So we moved in with my grandma, and we started going to church, Pastor Leo of Mission Valley. And then, dude, from 19 to 36, 37, I was just full Jesus guy, dude. Of course, we had our things we went through, but raising kids, building houses, doing construction, doing masonry. Met Kirk at that church, Kirk Carmichael, horrible person, but ended up building his house. Built the house, '08 market crashed, got into logistics, started brokering loads, and then started making more money than I ever could dream or imagine. Like, I went from making, you know, decent money to crazy money, like 1% of the 1% for like 5, 6, 7 years. Then my focus became work and money, right? And then I backed off like the relationship with my wife, and that kind of got like crappy because I was working 15 hours a day and selfish, and then I gained all my weight back. I was like 240 after Hurricane Sandy. Then I started just dieting hard. I had a crazy high blood pressure. I was 150 over 100 after Hurricane Sandy. I was up all night, moving loads, gained a ton of weight. Didn't even realize it. So I went and saw the doctor because my arm was numb. He told me, like, you gotta lose weight. You gotta eat better, you gotta do stuff. So I started the salt diet. What was the no salt? It was like some salt diet where you just had less salts or whatever to get blood pressure down. I did that for a couple years, got down to 220, 225. Marriage was kind of on the rocks. I started working out a lot more. 220 to 210, started training karate with you. I thought my marriage was fine. I mean, I was happy. We had a house, our kids went to Christian school, had a pool, every dream that I wanted, I did. Lived in a cul-de-sac, great friends, great neighbors, making crazy money, could do whatever we wanted to do, but there was just something always missing in our house. And at the time, it was like, oh, she wanted to drink, or oh, I was bad at this, or oh, I was not attentive, or oh, I worked too much, or I put too much focus on the kids, which I focused a lot on the kids. That's what I thought we did. I coached sports, hung out with them, everything I just give with the kids. But like looking back now, all the things I've learned now is like what happened was we had these deep traumas that we never got healed. We had these childhood traumas that we were so broken inside. She was so broken inside. I was so broken inside. We're just trying to run the rat race of success and to be a happy family without dealing with our trauma. Like all the pain and years of suffering that she went through, that I went through. And I just kept working. She could get more depressed. She kept drinking more. She kept taking more diet pills. I, at the same time, had found like this carb backloading diet from this guy at the gym, Pete, and I got in the best shape of my life at the same time. And not for anything, but to be in the best shape I could be, because I wanted to be better. I was working hard. I was studying things. I was reading books. I read this book, Good to Great, and things were coming together for me. And I lost track of her, but not on purpose. You know, I didn't understand. Like, what's wrong? Like, in my mind, there was nothing wrong. Forget the trauma from your childhood, I think. Who needs therapy? She would say she wanted therapy. That's stupid, I would say. That's for freaking weak people, you know? So she starts packing my bags every day for about the last 2 years of our marriage, 4 days a week. And then eventually she got me out. I had to stay at my buddy Eric and Rachel's house for a few weeks. She wouldn't let me back in. I was like begging her, please, I want to come home. Like, these are our kids. Like, please, I don't want to leave. Like, I'm so sorry. I'll do anything to fix our marriage. Like, I did not want to get divorced, ever. Like, ever, ever, ever. That was never a plan or a goal or a dream. I mean, it's, you know, God's using it for things, but it's not what I wanted. Something happened though. So like this, to be honest, this little thing happened. I, wanted something. I was working 20 hours a day. It was a new hurricane. I forget what hurricane it was. We were just working nonstop. She was not letting me home. I wanted to come to see the kids. She wouldn't let me see them. I didn't know what I did. I didn't ever physically attack her. The last 2 years, she physically freaking attacked me many times, assaulted me, hit me with weapons. But I was like, it didn't hurt, and I just didn't want to leave my kids. I wouldn't leave them for nothing. I want to protect them because I didn't have a dad. So I was like, I gotta protect these guys at all costs. And then, like, this little thing started happening. Like, I started going out with my friends, like, to pass time. Like, my neighbor or just my business partner Randy's son Cole. Like, we just, hey, let's go have a drink. Let's go have a drink. Let's go have a drink. And I wasn't a drinker. I'm not a drinker. Never been a drinker. But I go sit there and have like one beer and eat a steak. And then I'd gotten decent shape. And that's when I started seeing like the light. You know what I mean? The light of, wow, all of a sudden, every pretty girl in this place wants to talk to me, wants to know who I am. And at that point, I didn't care. Like, I wanted to get married. I wanted to be my wife. It didn't matter. And I started seeing these little nuggets, like, every time I go places. And I'd call her, like, come on, let me come home, please. Like, girls want to talk to me out here. Girls want to talk to me. Everywhere I go, I'm a man. It's been a month, it's been 2 months. I'm a man. Like, I can't keep going on like this. Like, I'm a dude, Like, I have a sinful nature or whatever. I have things that I want to do, and so I went to this place called Luke's. I had drinks there, a couple of drinks. I ate off the bartender's plate. She hears that. Someone tells her I'd slept with somebody. I never did. She then goes and listens to the bouncer, and then, dude, that was the beginning to end. Like, just freaking. She gave up. I gave up. I was pissed. She wouldn't let me back, and then once I found out that, then some stuff happened with my neighbor because she thought I was in something which wasn't true, which was just false words that Satan does. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And then I then turned, once I realized that she lost it, I then turned my who I am to I win. I play to win, So I said, okay, this is what you want, this is what you're gonna do, then we're gonna flip the switch because you're not a healthy person. And then she tried to get lawyer, come after me. I just got lawyer, I swept everything under the rug. She tried to do a fake restraining order on me, took care of that, got my kids full custody. And she moved to Texas with her husband. And I tell my kids, I'm praying for her, that she'll go out, she'll come back, that she'll be a good person, that she'll have a good career and be back in the kids' lives. And then through that, we started training, started talking about like, I want to be a black belt, I want to golf, I want to surf, I want to be in the best shape of my life. And since COVID started, I've done all those things. One after the other is like just been everything I want to do, I'm done now, and I'm being blessed. And the main thing is, wherever I go, the prettiest girls are like me. I don't know why. And they sound like a country singer. It's not prideful ego. Everywhere I go. So at first I dove into that, like, oh, this is what I want. I want this, and I rushed into relationships too fast for girls who I weren't equally yoked with. Like, they didn't have the same values, didn't have the same structures, or whatever. And I've learned things from them, but now I've learned, finally, it's taken me 5 years to not be codependent, to do my trauma work, to get through all these things, to be able to be the dad that I should have been my whole life, like to make dinners, to clean the house, to help them with their homework. The first 5 years I couldn't do any of that stuff. Dude, I could barely breathe. I went to 5150. Remember? I couldn't get out of bed for 3 months after my divorce. When she wouldn't let me back, when I realized she was moving on to some dude and she wouldn't heal our marriage, I freaking didn't get out of bed for 3 months. And then freaking, just one day at a time, getting better at each category. And I feel like God's calling me to like speak about the things that He's shown me in the last 4 years, but B, like my story, my journey, talking about it, getting it out, being able to share it, and like just to be hopefully used for God's kingdom. Like, I realize for me, wherever I go, people want to talk to me, so it's like, I'm gonna use that for good. You know what I mean? And along the way, maybe a little bit King David twist. For the boys, dude. I'm only a man, ladies. So that's where I'm at right now. I think, dude. I want to build this training app. I want to build some houses. I've taken a year off to surf, like I said, hang out with Dylan and the kids. I had time in my life, but now I want to start working, dude. That's kind of like, I think that's kind of it in a nutshell. You know, it's the basis of it.
It's huge.
You know,
Yeah.
pretty wild.
It's awesome.
And the key for me, the focus of my story is my trauma, the things I've gone through, to name them, and to also name the trauma that I've caused my kids, and to help them process that, and to help them grow from that, because they have to do that. They have to name these things, and for them to understand that it's not my fault. But I can't make them do that. What I've learned in this Adam Young counseling that I've been just studying is the only way I can help them and their trauma is by searching after mine and doing my work and doing my story work, and then through that they will then hopefully see it and move up the ladder of their growth. It's like in all categories. Do I want better kids? I'm gonna be a better dad. Do I want a better woman eventually someday? I'm gonna be a better man. And that's my focus now, to be better every day. It's things God's called me to do. You know?
That's huge, dude. Like, as you're saying that, I think of I was in therapy one time, and it was a new therapist, a new psychologist, and I love that, right? Because it's like, you know, what are we gonna talk about today? And he's like, so why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself? And I love that, and I love talking.
Yeah.
And so I go into like 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 or something, but he gets in and he goes, you know, Shiloh, you got really deep really quick. And most of the people I see, it takes them a while to get there.
Wow.
But you got really deep and personal about yourself. And I was like, what's the point, right? Like, that's like what. And I think, like, one thing we've noticed, like, why we're doing this is because that you just shared your story, which is very personal to you. And you know, I think in a world that we live in today, some people tell their story. Some people, you know, share like the personal stuff.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. But that's
change it.
But yeah, or they not hide. There's obviously discretion. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just want to just meet someone and just like throw everything. Right. But like I think,
which I do. I tend to do that.
But that's the like our friendship has been so cool because we get to that place of like just who we are.
Yeah.
That what makes us us, and then we talk about that stuff, and it's like, you know, we're not therapists. We don't, you know, but we just talk. Yeah. And that's, I think that the point of this is that we found like benefit from just talking about what's going on in our life.
It's huge.
And
naming it.
Yeah, of just like not really. It's not that you hide stuff, but it's just when you're going through stuff, we just talk about it.
Yeah.
But we've noticed that there's like when we go places and talk to people, we end up getting that level of deep pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it for us, it's just.
I can't not.
It's just what we do. It's not like, you know, it's not just like it sprouts. We don't just get like weird about it.
Right.
But there's an element to our
time
friendship.
And a place too.
Yeah, that I think we just learned to talk about where we are.
Yeah.
And accept it, and it's okay. And it's not that we find any solution from it.
Yeah.
But it's just talking. Like and there's like, I think we found a lot of things. I know I found out a lot about things about myself just from talking to you.
Wow.
It's not that, you know, we love therapists.
Yeah.
You know, my goal would be to see one every day. You know, like that, like
everyone on staff.
Yeah.
Only, and this not for anybody else. Only for like us.
Yeah. back to back meetings. But you know, and so that's the. Because we're still figuring out what we're doing. We want to start a podcast. We want to give people whoever's watching this background on who we are, or why we're doing this. It's Joey and Shiloh. And so that's your story, which is wild, man. You've got a crazy story. Not to belittle what you went through or to make more of it, but it's just like it's I think that's the thing that's such a beautiful thing, is like each of us on our own, we've been able to talk about what we've gone through, but it doesn't glamorize our life, but it also doesn't. It's not like we're wallowing in self-pity. It's just, it is what it is. It's, it's not like hiding stuff. But so with that, I'll go. Sweet. About me.
Nice. And a little bit about you.
A little bit about me and
background. I've been talking the whole time.
No, it's perfect. It's just,
I get a little serious too.
No, I love it.
I didn't try to, but
this is who we are.
Yeah.
Then the podcast is just going to be that. Yeah. We're not therapists. We're not. We don't have answers.
We've seen therapists.
Yeah, we love therapists.
And we've been through groups and we've done different things.
Yeah,
and it's like
there's a ton of stuff that we've learned on our own, and it's like it's like we're a beggar telling another beggar where the food is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like we figured things out. But yeah, so I grew up. I was one of 5. Grew up in a great home. My parents taught karate for most of my childhood. I grew up doing karate. We bounced around from like the 6th grade to my junior year. We bounced around a few places. I grew up primarily in Hawaii. Then moved to Colorado and Texas and back to California. There was 5 of us. My dad started the ministry that he has now, and I think I was like 13, and so I became like a preacher's kid. Life was really good. Life was always good for me. I started golfing when I was in the 8th grade.
Wow.
I liked golf.
Awesome.
I loved golf. I did karate. Life was really good. Went to 4 high schools. Bounced around. That was tough.
That is tough. Especially at that age.
Yeah, that was the hard part for me, was because I love being around people, but at that age it's difficult. It's difficult to make friends.
Yeah.
Just because you're so worried about what other people think of you, and what people think you're cool, and that was difficult moving around. But I made the most of it. I loved it. I got to meet new people.
Nice.
But yeah, we ended up in Southern California in my junior year, and went to finish high school there. Met a great group of friends. Life was good. Graduated, went to junior college for 8 years.
He's still in junior college, folks, right now.
32 credits that were passing. But through my 20s, I kind of just bounced around. I did a stint in Santa Barbara for about 6 months. It was fun. I had a friend he was selling ice cream up there, so I went up there. Tried to play a little college golf, or city college golf. That didn't work out, and then moved to Houston. Bounced around a little bit. And
is this like door-to-door ice cream sales, or is this?
Pretty much. No, we sold it out of a truck, ice cream truck. Yeah. It was fun.
Like in Friday?
Yeah. Like a little.
2 good-looking boys flying out of the back, driving only to where like all the sororities were. Yeah. And that's what the most ice cream is sold. Sororities and 2 in the morning in the bars.
Dude, it was.
Sorry for story.
No, it was a very fun. I did it for about, I think like 6 months. It was fun. Nothing came of it other than just a good time. But I bounced around. I taught. The only thing I really did through my 20s was teach karate. I worked at restaurants. I bartended. Life was good. Didn't really do anything. Just I did karate. I dabbled in martial arts. I just floated
Were you saying you went to Texas too? After
Yes,
Santa Barbara?
Texas, Santa Barbara.
After Santa Barbara?
After Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Texas, moved back to California, moved to Hawaii.
That's tough.
Yeah, rough. Moved back to California. Just could never really get my shit together.
Yeah.
A great guy. Everyone loved being around me. I think it was fun, but just didn't really have anything that I felt like I was good at. Which I liked. I liked teaching karate. I loved it, and so I went back, and I think I was like 26 or 27, maybe 25, and I ended up teaching karate full time.
Oh.
For a few years. That's where we met.
And you could have before then. You just chose not to.
Because when we met,
yeah.
you brought Joe in.
Well, you were young.
18.
Yeah, you were there.
I was teaching karate. My dad opened this school. I was teaching full time, but it was part time.
Yeah.
And I worked like 10 hours a week. It was great. But so then that's when we met, and then I came back when I was like 26.
Wow, you're gone that long.
Yeah, I just bounced around. I was just a floater out, and I'd said for so long, not all who wander are lost. That was like the quote out of the Bible.
Wow.
And really nothing too serious. I love life. Was blessed to travel. I lived in Brazil for like 2 months. I just got to kind of do my thing. It was fun. But then settled down, got married when I was 20. I think I was 26 when I got married. Was teaching karate. It was good. Not making a lot of money at all. But then. But
doing what you loved though.
Doing what I loved. Yeah, I wanted to dabble in martial arts. And then ended up in San Diego. Got married. Still teaching karate. Then I kind of. That kind of phased out, and I was kind of doing the wandering again, and the marriage was good. It was great at times. Then because I always drank, I always partied, and then things kind of got sideways with that, and things got real sideways, and then I ended up in rehab, which was good for me. And then, the marriage kind of, went down the drain, as it were. Things started getting rough. And then we ended up splitting up earlier this year. And so, but right before that, we met, or we talked again, and we just kind of had some ideas for what we, just big idea guys. It's kind of, we didn't really know what we wanted to do. We talked about doing a podcast. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I started training.
We started training again, getting you.
A lot of vocal training.
A lot of idea training.
But an hour credit about 4 hours of talking afterwards.
45.
At the time, we were still both marrying our wives, didn't understand what we were doing.
Well, and that's part of the story. It's not like, it kind of sounds like my story's gloom, but it's just, it is what it is. But like, I would teach. I would drive up and I'd teach, and the last class we'd done around 9, you would come in for that little bit, and you'd come in, we'd train, and we'd talk, but we'd be talking
about
like
in the spirit. Well, a lot of it was in the spirit too.
No, it was fun. It was this. It was just it was the start of this, and we talked for 2 to 3 hours. I leave the dojo at like 11:30, and it was like it was just fun. We didn't know we were there wasn't like we didn't have a goal in mind. No. It just we just it was.
It was organic. God put together the ideas and the thoughts and just the camaraderie. And the unique part of it was that like I always wanted to be like a kid. Like Van Damme was big for me, and I always wanted to be a ninja when I grew up. And I just never knew how to do it. Never had the opportunity to do it. Then when JoJo came up from school and talked about meeting you, and you came to the class. Then I went to see you guys, and I saw, dude, this is a place that Joe can make it, and Joe can see it through.
Yeah.
And then Joe started at 8 and made it all the way through his black belt.
That was
unbelievable.
Because we met. It's funny when we tell people like how we met. We met a long time ago.
Yeah.
Over 10 years ago. I was 18 or 19, and we taught Joe and Dylan and Hannah we knew each other, but then when I came back, right before I got married, I was teaching a bunch. He started coming and we started kicking it more. And then, and then like 2 years later, like fast forward, so if you fast forward and then rewind from today, 2 years ago, it was, I think we were pregnant with baby girl, and it was just kind of like this, it was like, what do we want to do thing. And I was like, well, let's figure something out. And so that was, and God is so good, but it like 2 years ago we had an idea to start a podcast. We didn't know.
We have some recordings back then.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were talking about. We were going to solve life issues. We were gonna line them up and chop them down. And we didn't really know what we were doing, but then I think that's one of the keys to what we're doing now. We don't know what we're doing. We know that we've been through enough life. I can speak for myself. The last 2 years of like just what life's brought me. It's to keep the positive expectation that life's gonna get better has been something that I think we just like, because we talk every day.
Yeah.
It's just about like whatever's going on, and so it's and it's not that, because this is an assumption, but if people see us, I don't think they really see that side of us.
No.
They don't see the side that, and we're extremely blessed. Life is very good. We're both in great positions. I love the position I'm in now. Our kids are healthy. Everything is good. But there's this other side to us that I think we've really connected on, and it's like we've been through stuff.
Yeah.
It's not that we pick it. It's not that we wanted it to happen. And it's where we are now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and talking about it as a secret sauce, like naming it and getting it out.
Yeah, it's because like things started getting shaky for me like 2 years ago. Not with my marriage that ended, but everything's good. Everything can be, strength, glory, glory. Everything's good, but like life, like just kind of started shaking, and it's still shaking, it's still, it's being written. But I think the point of this podcast is that we just talk about what we're going through.
Yeah.
Not that we have answers, but we're just honest with where we're at right now.
Yeah.
The things like the things that have helped us, we talk about, and it's real life. We're not trying to glamorify, our lives, make them better than they are. And we're also not like,
although they are glamified.
They're pretty glamified.
This is definitely glamified. We're not gonna be fake about it.
No.
We've created a position to where it's pretty glamified.
It is.
Through destruction and trauma.
Yeah.
Like came out on the other side.
We came out on the other side of it
with a very much better position.
But we at least for me, I know for you also, but it's like we've been through enough that it's like we don't wallow in the self-pity. Because it's not that we're not sitting here today saying that our life has gone exactly how we thought it was.
Right.
That's the exact opposite.
Dude.
We didn't think our life was going to go like this.
No.
And what do you do when it happens? It's not,
And at first, what you do is you dive into depression, anxiety, and using or drinking or wallow, and the tools that they tell you that they give you are to be positive, to not be stuck in it, to name it, to understand you can't change the things you can't change, right?
Yeah.
To understand that there's nothing you can do about that. So you have no choice.
Yeah.
We have two choices. We can stick in miserable and sorrow and drink whiskey and watch freaking reruns on shows, or we can get up and just do the work and be better every day and stay positive and stay happy and make goals to reach. The goals that are put on our heart.
The little goals, and because that's the thing is, I'll be on Instagram trying to find something almost every day. just a little nugget to get me through that day.
Yeah.
Just a little something, and that's like, you know, there's such a power in connecting. Just it's just wherever you are
just
today. Just talking, and it's like, because it's not that you figure out, you know, a solution.
Yeah.
I mean, we figure out 8 solutions a day.
Yeah.
But it's like we're on this trajectory where we've gone through life. Life just happened to us. You know, it's not. Life's. It's not that it's fair. It's unfair. It's life.
Right. It happened to us in 2 total different ways.
Yeah.
But we're both pretty much the same spot.
Yeah.
Different like generation, 10-year different generation, in different circumstances, but mentally the same spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's
like even with the trauma part.
Yeah.
There's traumas inside both of our stories. It's not gonna come on this first story tale.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things embedded in there.
Well, and see, that's like that's not the problem. It's the thing. It's the exciting part is like, as a 30-year-old, like my life is great.
Yeah.
It's so good, but there's so many things that I have to work through. There's so many areas I want to be better at. And it's not the cheesy be better.
Right.
Like, you know, it's not like the, you know, wake up at 5 o'clock to make your life better. That's great.
Yeah.
But that's not what's worked for me. You know, it's like, in that, like, that's the thing that I think that we figured out. I know it's freaking helped me. It's just, we don't necessarily have solutions.
Right.
We end up finding a solution.
No, or God organically creates a solution and we see it happen.
Yeah.
And like, we go, oh wow, today this happened. Which is something we were talking about, and then it would just happen randomly.
I mean,
which is like, wow.
There's so many things that have happened since, like, well, because like this is the thing. When we first started the podcast, I was going through a rough spot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and we were wanting to, you know, it was like we wanted to.
And that was pre all this stuff.
That was pre-rehab, pre-divorce.
I never drank.
Yeah, that.
I had no idea.
And so that, and like what I've learned these last few years is it's like we sat across doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but let's put the foot that's forward that we're gonna help people.
Yeah.
Let's teach people how we're gonna make them better. And in the back of my mind, you know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm falling apart over here, buddy.
No, me too.
like I'm. You know,
I just go through a divorce. Which
we were doing our best though.
But what happened is like we wouldn't have even sought these things without going through divorce and going through these traumas. I would never even thought about this stuff. It would never have crossed my brain. It just would have been like work, move loads, go to the gym, parent the kids, do some karate, coach Dylan in sports, coach Joe in sports. Go shopping.
Yeah,
I would never even saw this whole world.
This whole it's like and the thing I think that we're trying to communicate with other people, you listening, is
all 3 of you.
1, 2, Father, Holy Spirit. We got 3 of them, dude. We got 3 of them. They're here with us now. Yes. Like we were like on this trajectory of what we thought our lives would be. And not to glamify.
Just
it wasn't like it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not like
soap opera stars.
It's just not like, you know, everything fell and crashed in our lives, you know. But to some degree, life got really wonky, and that like, because I mean, I think of like my life, and my life was great. I wandered, you know, I was kind of doing my thing. I got married. Like, didn't know I had a drinking problem. Had a drinking problem.
Yeah.
And so like.
About that, I didn't know you did.
Yeah.
The first time we hung out, you were working with me. We started doing the podcast, started doing the online stuff, started doing trucking, and then we went to golf, and we had a few White Claws, and I felt bad, like, oh my God, because I had a different perception.
Oh yeah.
Of your story, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, I got shot, had too many drinks days, my fault. I go flying out the golf cart, we ran a little freaking spin, I go tumbling out.
Yeah,
you know? But then I'm noticing that day where your buddies and they're saying some stuff about, hey, better calm down. Better slow down. I had no idea it was an issue at the time. I was just like, and then I felt, and then it was horrible when you first went through, like I felt horrible. I was like, oh my God, this is my fault. Like I freaking let this guy down. I brought him with the company, started doing this, and then I had some drinks with him. Like, man, this is all my fault. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's like the part that for me that's been like these last like few years is it's like I thought I had life figured out. I thought I knew what I was doing in life.
Yeah.
And I didn't. There were some areas that were great, but like it's because the drinking for me was like it was fun. It was like harmless. It was like sometimes I drink too much, but it wasn't like it was. You know, like I wasn't like I was like in the gutter.
Right.
But then it like. It became something in it, my life kind of spiraled, but I was working with you. It wasn't like my life was bad. You know what I mean? It was like
buying fifths and like
right,
in
like
the garage.
It wasn't like it was. I wouldn't say noticeable, but there was it. But I thought I had it figured out then.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what I was doing, as far as what I wanted in life, and I was really just kind of like I was just wandering. I had faith, but like that. And so now as a 30-year-old, having realized I'd gone through that, with for me, what was drinking, that's like, it was a problem and it's something that I had to take care of. It's like, okay, well now let's get back to life. And it's, it's been difficult for sure, like talk about like depression and anxiety. It's like, that's real. Just kind of the anxiousness and the stress of just life. And it's like, do I have it all figured out? No. Like, am I better than I was? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, not that, if anyone is listening to us, I hope you're enjoying it, but like,
at least the way it looks. Okay. Which if I was a gamble and bet, and you can call it egotistical or prideful or the can't believe that guy, but most of you are. Whatever.
But it's not like like what we have to tell people, Joey, isn't how to fix themselves. It's not here, do this. No. We did this, do this. We just talk about what we've been through.
Right.
Like but what I've noticed we've connected most on is it's like the areas where it's like, oh yeah, that really sucked.
Yeah.
I feel that happened to me too.
Yeah.
Like whether it be like the stress or anxiety or like divorce, and it's like it's not that we have answers. It's not that we know what to do, because we're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But it's like we've stumbled through life like this last season, and it's like it keeps working out. I don't know if there's a solution or but it's just
I don't know. This
is just what we do. I think we've both been through enough life that it's like, yeah, we know life. Yeah,
we're finding out by A, like just our brains, and B, people around us telling us that sometimes my voice is going, but what we're good at is what we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow we're good at it, and not because we think we are, but because people were telling us around us that we're good at it. Whether this first episode is good or not, I don't know, but like when we're in public, people want to talk to us, people like talking to us. We make them feel better about themselves organically. We just have more of a smile. I generally care about someone when I'm talking to them or meet them out in the real world.
This is what we like to do.
This is it, dude. I don't want to do anything else. That's why I'm
serving talk. If we could do anything, it'd be this. It's just like this. and so that's...
Well, we're learning from followers on Instagram. It's like, they are saying, do what you like. Do what you want to do. And with our faith, with my faith, I think here's you, is like, do what God's put on our hearts. And this is what God's put on my heart, is to be a better person and then share about how I became better. Yeah. And not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, as a dad, in all categories.
Yeah.
And influencing people around me, one at a time. Like if I can help somebody find what their calling is, their drive, or help them better themselves. Like, dude, there's like I got buddies in my life right now that I've seen them drastically change in the past year for the good, and they're like, hey man, we appreciate you, like your advice and stuff. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm just trying to be better, and hopefully
it's been things like that have been happening.
Right.
And it's literally, this is the ultimate experiment of the, it's like, if you do what you love, you never ever work a day in your life.
Right.
This is the experiment.
Yeah.
And this is what we like to do. It's not that I think we even think we know what we're doing, because we don't. But this is just what we like to do.
Yeah.
And it's
listen, train.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a few things.
There's a few things.
The main focus would be to talk.
It's the experiment that you guys are included in now. It's like, can we if this is what we love to do, which is just talk, does it help? It helps us. Like, that's, and I don't know how these work, I don't know how podcasts work. It'd be cool if we could get this going. Because it's not like we lack any.
No, we could talk.
We could talk.
Right, deal?
We could talk.
Yeah.
We could talk about everything.
We can talk about talking.
We talk about talking.
We will laugh. We watch our own videos of us laughing, and we'll laugh.
And we'll talk and talk about how we talk.
Dylan, remember the video I was watching? And
he started laughing.
He started laughing. So we were like, Dad, what'd you say? I didn't say anything.
He just broke me.
Because that's the thing, is we don't ever have a topic when we talk.
No.
We just talk.
No, but someone recently, a very attractive person, has told you that, hey, you should do the podcast out of the blue, and like, you should go for this. You should start talking. You should be a light. You should tell your story, because you're telling that person your story.
Yeah.
And like, oh wow, you seem good at this.
Which is, it's just this. It's just talking. It's like, it's.
And so it wasn't like we're not sitting around. There's no agenda. There's no sitting around going, hey, how can we become talk? It was just like, well, we've been talking about it for 4 years, not really done it. We've done little tidbits of it, because part of us don't really want to do it, or we were holding back from doing it.
Yeah.
Either we were insecure and they were good enough, or B, just thinking like,
oh, for sure.
Just
like, I don't know
how do you do it?
How do we even do this? What does it even look like?
How do we find the time? We're doing other things. We're raising kids. We're going through divorces.
It's like the ultimate hobby.
Yeah.
This is what we like to do. We just like to talk.
And for some reason, like I said, more and more, like the doors are opening and people are talking to us about those gifts.
Yeah.
And it just. Good night, buddy. It's just embracing them. It's embracing them and doing it in grit and grace. Just working hard and praying for favor. We both have favor in our lives.
Yeah. And
then like grace to like get us to the other side, and like get off the condemnation from the past. Because there's no condemnation.
No.
That's the biggest thing.
Talking about it helps.
Talking about
what I've been through.
Yeah.
And it's not been through like it's been some crazy.
Yeah.
It's just what I've experienced in my life helps me.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part. It's not.
Thank you so much. It was me.
It's not like, because what I love about therapists is you talk to them, and then they tell you. Yeah. This, that. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a growth, because you're like, okay, this is how I'm thinking. Maybe I should think like this, or off here. But there's been a crazy amount of like growth I've seen in just with our conversations.
Yeah.
It's not that we solve problems, we just talk.
Yeah.
And so that's like, perfect, 53 minutes. We could keep going.
No, we can go.
But I think we should land the plane with if this is the pilot episode for this, right? Like what do you look forward to talking about?
Me personally?
The next time, yeah.
I want to talk about like the things that's been put on my heart organically that I've seen through my experiences. Like, that I think that has helped me. So for me, part of my background, like I kind of shared about it, was I've had success in every area of my life. And I believe it's totally God's favor in my life. I've never been that good at anything. But when I work hard at stuff, I end up being good at it. Or people think I am. I don't even look back and think I was good at these things. But somehow, everything lined up. In construction, I didn't think I was any better than anybody else's. Things just lined up. you know, I worked harder than everybody else, I thought. And then in trucking, I worked harder in the beginning. I made more phone calls and worked harder, and I don't think I did anything differently, and just blessings came my way. So I want to talk about the things I've learned through that journey for me, but I also have kids, and I don't want to say there's one right particular way. I don't want them to find their way. And my whole focus is for me to share what I've learned to inspire my kids, you know, and then B, my friends and family, and then C, anybody else who wants to listen. You know what I mean? And then D, you know, the ladies of the night. I have to edit that part out. That's just on my heart.
You kept it A, B, C, and D. I was waiting for A, 2, C,
No, right.
4.
No, I don't really want. One thing I've learned in this season is that I want to talk about no condemnation. I want to talk about God's love for me and for us and for people, and not what we do, but what He did. And I want to talk about a big thing on my heart is knowing your number, is knowing what I want, so I'm not giving in to less than, so that I can have continual sex with somebody. Like I think Christians will end up like settling so they can have that in their life, and I don't want that to be like, I want to, you know, find the right person, but along the way, like there's no condemnation in my mind. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about trauma, how to get through the traumas of my past, and help people in their trauma for them. And I want to talk about, you know, those things, dude. Be a better dad, be a better man, and be a better light. That's what I'm talking about.
That's good, dude.
How about you? What are you talking about?
I think what I think would be really cool is because we both, but I know I listen to a ton of podcasts. I'm always trying to find something to be better.
Yeah.
In some way, in some and that's one area that's huge. But what I love the most is when I talk to somebody, and I can relate to them.
Yeah.
It's not to wallow in self-pity, to go, oh yeah, this, you know, life sucks. That's not it. It's when you talk to someone and they've been through something similar, there's a strength and a power in that. Like for me, it's like I can look up to the guys I listen to on podcasts. Like they're so far past where I am right now. And so if we could just be a voice for people that are also going through life.
Yeah.
That we're going through life too.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about what's helped us.
Yeah.
Not that we have answers, but it's like, you know, there's been so many times where I'm going through something, and not to make it sound like our lives are horrible, but there is the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I argue in my head almost every day with multiple people, but you know, you know, so it's like if we talk or I talk to somebody and I just get it out,
yeah,
and I hear what I'm saying or what they're saying, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
It's like because I remember one time for me, I was listening to a ton of podcasting, it was preaching, and like what made the difference was the pastor said, I can imagine having sex with a random woman. I can imagine that'd be fun. And I was like, what? And I was like, wait, I'm listening to you for like advice, but you're telling me like you're not supposed to say that that. But what it did is something in me clicked. I was like, well, like that. And all the podcasts I listened to, that was like the one thing that stuck out. Not that he was advocating that, but it was just, it's like, oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay. Like it, you know. And so because I think there's so many voices out there that tell you what you should do.
Right.
We already know what we should do.
Right. It's engraved in
us. It's like for some reason, you know, like I think like junior high, like when you had like a pimple or a zit, you knew it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't know. You didn't even say, "Oh, hey, you got that on your face," and it's like that's what we do in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you need to fix that.
That's exactly what you do. Wow.
That's that. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't know.
Right.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know that. Like.
The worst.
When did of course I knew it. I'm looking at it all day. I didn't it's like I hate it. You know what I mean? And so it's just it's like, you know, sometimes just hearing someone, it's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not just gonna sit around and and whine.
Yeah.
But there's something about it's about connecting with something and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. And like, cause I mean we're both problem solvers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And problem makers.
And probably better at the latter.
You both sides.
You know what I mean? If we would get graded, probably the second one. But
we're good problem solvers on the ones we made it, especially.
And so there's like all these areas in our life that we're trying to improve in.
Yeah.
And we are. I think we're getting better in all these areas.
Yeah.
But there's where we want to be, the gap of where we are and where we want to be. In between there.
Yeah.
That's actually where life happens.
Oh yeah.
Because once you get there,
That's
you're
cool.
there.
Yeah.
You've done it. You look back and you go, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
But that gap in between where you are and where you want to be,
Wow.
just that gap.
Which is on both sides of the spectrum. So I'll close for myself for this part. Is like I've mentioned, like no condemnation a couple times, and not to get too spiritual, but there is no condemnation like eternally in my mind, but there's like reaping and sowing or karma, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I do good shit, a lot of good stuff's gonna happen. If I do bad shit, a lot of bad stuff's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It just, if I sit around and eat Cheetos and bonbons, I'm gonna get fat. If I work out and kick ass, I'm gonna get in better shape.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to cheat on my wife or be adulterous or be a slime ball, I'm gonna lose my marriage. Not what I did, but that's what would happen. If I'm gonna cheat or rob, I'm gonna go to jail. Like these things are real. So it's the same in the whole spectrum of life. There's no condemnation, but we're gonna have to go through trials from it. And I think we're both a product of some things we've done that freaking, wasn't the best of what we had given to us at the time. And what we're saying is like, we get another chance. We're still here. God still loves us. We still have our gifts, right? Now we can choose to use them and go forward, or we can sit and wallow in the past and how horrible we were, or what we did bad, or what decision we made bad, or feel guilty, or oh, I could have done this better. Oh, I wish I'd done this better. And all that does is create more anxiety and more depression, right? Like depression is focused on things in the past. Anxiety is worried about things in the future. So I'm trying to get self-minded and present-minded.
Yeah.
And
And on that, I think most people are doing the best they can for where they're at.
Yeah.
I think we're doing the best we can for where we're at.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we don't want to do better.
Right.
But I think there's so much noise and there's so much clamor of like, do better, do better, do better. I think most people are doing the best they can.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to show and see where you're not doing the best at, but in the areas where it's like most of life is like we're just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or they're doing what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which know your number. If maybe a guy wants to do what he wants to do and he wants to eat freaking pizza every night and drink beers. In his mind he thinks it's crazy, it's not. That's okay.
Yeah.
For him. Someone's drawing art all night long in their bedroom and just kind of chilling and having an okay life. But for them that's what they're doing. They want that. You can't tell them right or wrong. They're doing what they want to do.
And that'll be the next one.
Yeah.
Know your number.
Yes, sir.
We're doing it.
I like it, dude. Here we go. Day
See you
one,
guys
buddy.
soon.
Day one.